This is where Kansans of note come to share their life stories and their secrets for success. This week, my guest is President of WSU Tech, Sheree Utash. Utash oversees the largest technical college in Kansas, which includes the National Center for Aviation Training. In these times of high student debt and ever-escalating tuition at four-year colleges, technical schools are getting renewed attention. They can train students for well-paying jobs at a fraction of the cost of a bachelor's degree. Coming up, we'll find out what it takes to keep WSU Tech on the cutting edge of vocational education. We'll also find out why Dr. Utash has such a passion for education and helping the next generation succeed in an increasingly competitive world. Join me now as I go one-on-one with Dr. Sheree Utash. Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Victor Hogstrom. It's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Sheree Utash, President of WSU Tech, to the program. What an honor to have you. And we've been wanting to have you on, but with the COVID thing hitting the world, we had to delay some things, but we're so happy that you made it today.
Thank you so much, Victor, and it's just my honor and pleasure to be here with you today.
So, Dr. Utash, tell us about the beginning of your life. You are from Wichita. Your dad worked for WSU for many years. Take us through the rest of the story.
Happy to. I am a very proud Wichitan my entire life. And my father went to work for Wichita State University when I was 5 years old. And he worked there for 54 years. And his career ended as the Vice President of Finance and Administration. So I was indoctrinated into the Shockers and the black and gold at a very, very, very young age. I can remember back as a young child that we had a very, very strict bedtime, except for basketball nights, because we always went to the basketball games. Anyway, so I remember watching him growing up, and he just worked a lot. He worked in the evenings, every evening after dinner and that kind of thing. And I always said, well, I will never go into higher ed. And so 26 years into my career in higher ed, I guess I can eat those words. But certainly he was a huge influence in my life, and continues to be not only a great father, but a great friend and mentor.
Interestingly, when you began your college life, you did not select WSU as your first choice. Tell us that story and tell us what happened in your home.
So that, I remember it very well. I had a really good friend that was a couple of years older than I was that had already been attending Kansas State University. And so I went up to K-State for the weekend, and I came home, and on Sunday night at dinner, I said, I'm going to go to K-State next year. After I graduate. And I think my dad, after he about choked, he finally came to a place that he could, agree with it. But he always said the 4 years that I was there, that those were the hardest checks that he ever had to write, was to write a tuition check to Kansas State University. I did go on to WSU though, and I received my master's degree along the way at Wichita State University. So I think that was good for him, and he felt good about that.
Right, and you later on obtained a PhD.
I did. I obtained an EDD at just as an adult. Actually, I was an adult student getting my master's, and an adult student getting my doctorate.
So
right. I understand the plight of working full time and having a family and going to school.
So you then worked after college, all of your educational endeavors. You worked in other industries.
I did.
And ended up becoming the president of WSU Tech, which is formerly Wichita Area Technical College,
That's right.
and now WSU Tech. How did that happen?
So I received my bachelor's degree in marketing and business. And I went, my very first job was at the Wichita Eagle and Beacon at the time. The Beacon was just about to go out at the time that I joined them. But I've got to tell you, I remember coming back to Wichita and interviewing so many places. And I really wanted to work in an advertising agency, and everybody wanted experience, and I didn't have that. But I did land a job selling advertising for the Wichita Eagle and Beacon. And I ended up working there for about 6 years, and also ended my career there as an assistant retail ad manager at the Eagle. Then started my family and decided to go into private business. And so I did a little agency work on my own through a little private ad agency that I had with several customers that I'd had at the Wichita Eagle. And then I went into a retail world, and my husband at the time was a general contractor, so I worked with his business, and I sold outdoor power equipment in Wichita, Kansas.
Wow.
And then due to a personal situation in my life, due to a divorce, I actually had to recreate my career. And I was very fortunate to find a woman from Wichita State University that said that she was looking for a director of marketing, and I applied for the position, and about 3 days into it, she said, "I really don't need that. I need an assistant director for the West Side Center." And I said, "I'll be the best assistant director you've ever seen in your life." And that started my career in higher ed. So I worked at Wichita State for a couple of years. Then I worked at Cali Community College for about 12 years, and then moved to Wichita Area Technical College at the time, 13 years ago, and I've been the president. This is my 7th year as president.
That's been a fascinating track to follow. And,
It is.
And I think you paid your dues.
Well, and it's an interesting track because I didn't come to be a president of a college through a very traditional track.
Right.
My background is really a lot more entrepreneurial and business background and that kind of thing.
And some sales.
And sales. And I think that served me pretty well in this. So
Right.
It's amazing when you think about your entire life. I'll tell you a little story. I was in high school, I was, really probably not the best student, but I loved theater, and I loved the music department at the high school I went to. And that was really what kept me going. And so the things that I learned in that, it's funny, I just kind of have realized over the last couple of years that those things that I learned in music and theater have really affected my entire career, my entire life, and I fall back on some of those things all the time. So.
And you just spoke to the importance of the arts.
Yes.
In the community.
That's exactly right.
Right.
It's very, very important. It really helps shape. It helps shape an individual. So a lot of the things I learned during that period of time, it's amazing that I look back and think how much that's really affected my career in a very positive way.
So you mentioned your family. Tell us briefly about your family.
So I come from a family, of course, that was here in Wichita forever. I was born at Wesley Hospital. I have a brother that's 3 years younger than I am. And now my family, I have a blended family of 5 children. So I have 3 daughters, and I have a bonus daughter and a bonus son. And I am also the very proud Gigi of 7 beautiful, beautiful grandchildren that range from 6 years old to 2 months old.
Oh, wow.
4 girls, 3 boys.
All right. So that's a very interesting beginning story of your life. Now that you're president of WSU Tech, where did that passion for education come from? Because most people would want to teach as they enter education. They like to mix and mingle with the young kids to see how they're thinking and to guide them. But you went for the top and doing a great job at it, I may add. So where did that passion come from?
So I have a real passion for helping people. I have a real passion for helping people see their potential and helping people see potential that they don't even know they have. A lot of times I say very lovingly, we have to shove our students into their future. because I think that people don't understand the potential that they really have. So part of my job and part of my real passion is to lift up this community, to make sure that Wichita and the greater Wichita region and our state is well educated, is globally competitive in the world of work, no matter what work that is, whether it's healthcare, manufacturing, IT, aviation, whatever the case may be, and to find people and help them be able to realize their potential and to improve their economic conditions for themselves, their families, and to create economic prosperity for our city and our region. That's really where my driving passion comes. I tell our college, I tell all the wonderful people that work at WSU Tech, I tell them all the time we have two things that we need to do, and as long as we do those two things well, all boats rise. And one of those is to ensure a quality experience and education for our students. And number two is to train and educate the best workplace that we can for the future of our business and industries, and just to help people see a way.
Right.
And that's what we do. And technical education, there's never been a better time in the history of education to be part of career technical education, because it's a huge highlight in the work that we do today. And just what we went through with COVID really, again, emphasized the importance of all of those essential jobs and careers that make this world operate.
So you must have a vision for WSU Tech. Mm-hmm. And for technical education, technical college, you being the head of the largest one in the state of Kansas. What is that vision? What in 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, what would you like to see technical education become? What would you like your legacy to be in technical education?
So I think that there's a great opportunity right now for career technical education. We've been evolving and transforming the last several years, but boy, the possibilities right now as we look forward are endless. So you take, for instance, the fact that we've just done this incredible pivot from teaching all of our career and technical education in a classroom and in a lab to a hybrid model, where part of it's online and part of it's in the classroom. That's never going to go back to the way it was. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to get better at it. We are going to be, WSU Tech is going to be an innovator in that space across this nation in teaching and learning in different ways to create a qualified workforce. I think the other thing that's going to happen, and it's already starting to happen, and it's going to continue to build, is this whole importance of industry recognized credentialing and short-term certifications. And that's in every single sector of industry that we can think of. That's going to be very important. That's going to be a currency that people can take with them into the world of work. And so we want to be an innovator in that. We want to continue to do that. We want to be a microcosm of this community. So as this community goes with what they need for today, tomorrow, and the future of their workforce, we want to be part of that conversation. We want to be the educators of that. And so that's really, really actually the vision that I have for the college. It's the same vision we've had for several years, but we just continue to build upon that. I've been at the college 13 years. When I got there 13 years ago, we were serving about 700 students. Now we're serving a little over 8,000 a year.
Wow.
So we've had tremendous growth. We've had tremendous opportunity to impact. But it's the people. It's the people that come to us. It's the high school graduates. It's the people in the community that want to upskill and reskill or maybe change careers. They're doing the heavy lifting. We're just providing the way for them to do that.
So you were once Wichita Area Technical College merged with WSU. Is there competition with WSU for students?
So Dr. Bardo and I had a vision to affiliate Wichita Area Technical College into the university by calling it WSU Tech. And that's what we did. And our vision of this was that under one umbrella of Wichita State University, we could provide education from GED to PhD. And so WSU Tech is a complementary piece to the university. It's not a competition. It's not. We are a complementary piece because 65% of what we do is career technical education. And so that is a whole different type of education than what the university is providing. The other part of what we do is more like what a community college would offer to this community. So, you know, for students that aren't ready to go to the university in qualified admissions or maybe don't quite know what they want to do yet, we have what we call the Shocker Pathway. And so you can take your first 40 to 45 hours of an associate's degree with us at WSU Tech. Then you can take 15 hours at the university, get your associate's degree, and then hopefully move on into your baccalaureate degree. So that's one of the things that we've been able to do. And the other thing is we've been able to work together on programs. We have a new program now, a Bachelor of Applied Studies degree at Wichita State University that we've never had before. And it's new, and it honors and it recognizes the good work and education that people have in career technical education that want to continue to develop into workforce development, leadership, and those kind of things. And it honors those credit hours, and they transfer into that degree. So there's a lot of wonderful things that have happened as a result of the affiliation, and we're just in the baby stages. You know, we're in year 3, so there's a whole lot left to do to build that. But it's a really strong partnership between the two of us.
You also have the aeronautics system, the airplane. What do you call it? The
National Center for Aviation Training.
Yes, that center. Tell us about it and what other areas of the technical aspect of WSU, the technical college that is, that makes you proud.
So the National Center for Aviation Training, certainly, you know, all the kudos go to the Sedgwick County Commissioners and the county manager who 12, 13 years ago had the vision to do this and built that building. So the National Center for Aviation Training is 10 years old and really proud of what happens there. Of course, it's an education and training center for many students, but there's also some really nice intersection with the National Institute for Aviation Research at Wichita State University and also the College of Engineering at Wichita State University. So there's the collision of graduate students and engineering students along with our students where they're testing out research, where they're, you know, working collaboratively on different projects. That is an incredibly unique learning environment that you do not find in other cities. So we have a lot to be proud of what happens in the National Center for Aviation Training.
So what do you see, Dr. Utash, as the biggest challenge or challenges facing higher education these days?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. Accessibility is a challenge. Affordability is a challenge. And those are two big challenges that we have. But also the fact that education is changing. And one of the things that I think is a real concern is the private sector getting involved in this. When I say the Googles of the world and the Amazons of the world and all these kind of things, saying that they're going to provide education for people. That's a real challenge for higher education. That's why you have to be flexible, nimble, and you have to be very unique in how you offer education today. So you have to have a value-added benefit to those students and to your prospective students of why they want to choose you in higher education. The other thing that's going to be a huge challenge is how do we continue to build in an online world and hybrid world and create really dynamic student engagement that's exciting, that's interesting, that's challenging for people, because think about what's happened the last 10, 11 months. That is changing the landscape of K through 16 education forever.
So true.
And we're all going to have to be a part of that transformation and that evolution of change.
Now, you talked about affordability. Some politicians believe students should go to public schools, universities, colleges, free. What say you?
Well, I think it's a very, I think it's a wonderful mantra. I don't know how you do that. I would love it if they could figure out how to do that. I will tell you something that we did along those same lines. So I'll share this story with you. When I was working on my doctorate, at that point in time, that was the very early conversation about America's Promise, which would be free tuition for all. And I started thinking about that, and I thought, you know, at that time there were a few states that were doing it, and I was thinking a lot about this, and I thought, I don't know how you do that at a federal level, and most states can't afford to do it, so I'm not sure how you do that at a state level. I will tell you what we did. We created what we call the Wichita Promise, and we still have that today. And the Wichita Promise is, we look at what is the high-tech, high-wage, high-demand career fields in our community. And then each year we scholarship a number of students into those particular programs. And through our foundation, we scholarship those students and pay their tuition. So we created what we called the Wichita Promise. And that's been very effective. We've ran it for about 5 years now, and we continue to do that. But it is a way of creating opportunities for students. And I think affordability is so important. And you know, we try really hard to, you know, minimize our tuition increases, and we did not increase tuition this last year at all, in a year that, you know, has been extremely tough, frankly. But we didn't do that. But accessibility and affordability are extremely important for people throughout the nation to become educated and to be able to have a career.
So, Doc, what are your personal goals, career goals?
My career goals, well, I've got to tell you, I've got the best job on the planet right now. I love my job. I love the college that I serve. I have a wonderful board of trustees, a board of directors, and I have the best students and the best faculty and staff that a person could ask for. So I am extremely blessed. Beyond anything I could have ever imagined, to have the job that I have today and to do the work that I do. And I love this community, and you know, my plans are to certainly do everything that I can do as long as I'm viable and adding value to the work that I do. And then I will retire and live in this community and still be a very, hopefully, integral part of what we do. But this, you know, I love Wichita, and I believe in Wichita, and I believe that we are going to see our best days post-COVID.
Right. What about role models? Who were those role models to you?
Gosh, you know, it's so funny because I watch people all the time. There are so many people that have mentored me that don't even know that. They have no idea.
Right.
But there's wonderful, I mean, I think about, you know, certainly my father has to be right up there, but I think about different people that I've worked with. I think about people in this community, and I don't want to, I hate to name names because I'll forget somebody, but, you know, I'll just mention a few, like Shelley Pritchard and Janetta Everett and Cindy Carnahan and Jeff Fleur and Cheryl Wolford and Elizabeth King, people that are just making a difference. And I think, you know, at the bottom of my heart, that's what I want to do. I do that in my professional life, and I do that in my personal life, you know. I always want to make a difference. I took my oldest granddaughter to the movie Toy Story about a year and a half ago. And we got in the car, and I said, "Who was your favorite character?" And she said, "Buzz Lightyear." Oh. And I said, "So you want to be an astronaut?" And she goes, "I do, Gigi, but I don't think girls can be an astronaut." I said, "Oh yes, girls can be anything." So for Halloween that year, I got her an astronaut suit. We went to science camp, space camp. So I mean, it's like, you know, that at the heart, it's just making making our community the best place it can be.
Right.
And whatever influence or persuasion I can have on that, I want to seize that moment and do that in my personal and my professional life.
So share with us the most meaningful thing in life for you today.
Oh, the most meaningful thing in life for me today is watching success. And it can be watching the success of our students. It can be watching the success of our faculty and staff. It can be watching the success of my children, my 5 children. It can be watching the success of my 7 grandchildren. Those things are the things that excite me. They make me happy.
So what's the secret to your success?
The secret to my success, I would say, is that I've always had a very strong work ethic. So I'm a hard worker. I always want to get to yes, if at all possible. I surround myself with wonderful people, whether that's in my family or in my professional life. I surround myself with wonderful people. I could have never achieved what I've achieved without my husband. He's been a fabulous helpmate to me over the last 25 years. I could have never achieved what I achieved without him.
What does he do?
He is a manufacturing engineer at Spirit on the 787 line. And I surround myself with people that are just uplifting, that are smarter than I am, that are better than I am, and that are much more able to take the vision that I have and actually make it a reality.
And my final question to you, Doc, is how do you keep WSU Tech on the cutting edge of vocational education?
The way you do that is that you have good relationships across the nation with other college presidents, so you know what's going on in the world of education. And then you keep really good relationships with your local business and industry so that you know what they're doing, what transformations and evolutions they're going through, what are their challenges, what are their opportunities. And then I think you look at your college and you say, where are our strengths? And we're going to really work on those and recognize our weaknesses, understand what the threats are, always know where your opportunities are, and don't get distracted by all the noise. Stay mission focused, stay on your track, and always, always leave doors open for any kind of opportunity or options that are out there. Never burn a bridge.
Dr. Sheree Utash, thank you so much for joining us one-on-one. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
And
Appreciate it.
I could shake your hand, but I'll give you the...
Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you again. And thank you for watching this week's edition of One-on-One. If you have a question or comment, shoot it off to oneonone@kpts.org. What you have to say matters to us. Until next time, I'm Victor Hogstrom, and I'll see you again soon.